Welcome back once again to our book reading. And today I'm going to read Jack Canfield's Success Principles. We are continuing with what we started, and I hope you're doing well. Warm welcome if you're watching me live, and if you're watching me as a recorded version, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out. Thank you for following. And we are going to go to chapter 4, which says believe it's possible. So yes, we are doing this live after really a long time. This entire month of May I was off traveling with family, spending some good time with family, exploring new places. Visited this beautiful place called Sedona, which is in Arizona in the America. And what beautiful energies, how healing that place was, how healed and how held I felt when I was in those vibes. Sedona is one of those vortices where the energy frequency is really very high. So I would recommend you all to visit Sedona. Also, one thing which I always like to share is when you travel, you expand your horizons, you create a new pattern in your auric field when you go to new places. So it's amazing that when you go out of your comfort zone, you create something better. But like I always say, coming back home is coming back home. It's one of the most beautiful feelings. And how beautiful is it that you have wings to fly and roots to come back and be where you are. On that note, let's start chapter 4. Chapter 4 is believe it's possible. I think in my coaching sessions, even in my workshops, one of the most difficult things which students find it difficult is to believe in themselves and to believe what they want is possible. And I always say that until you learn something, it's always impossible. And then you learn something and it's possible. We all have dreams, but we don't know how to make them come true. And because there is so much in the whole dream thing going on that we feel it's impossible and we don't even ask. How many times have you forgotten to ask just because you believed it was not possible? And how many times you stopped yourself from asking for more and telling yourself that you are content with what you have? It's a beautiful feeling to be content. But what's not good is to be somewhere in the mediocre list and feeling miserable about it. There is a difference between being complacent and between being content. Most people mistake that being complacent is being content. But deep inside, they want something more. And they are probably telling themselves that I'm happy with what I have. But deep inside, they want more. And now they are feeling resentful and they have so much animosity towards other people, towards world. I see a lot of people feeling that people who are happy are fake. But the truth is, unhappy people dislike happy people because they feel that happiness is not possible. And if this person is showing that they are being happy, they are not being happy, they are just showing off. But the truth is, you can always make a new choice and understand that happiness is possible for every person. And rather than hating someone who is happy, find your own source of joy. Happiness template is not the same for everyone. Probably painting makes you happy. For me, writing makes me happy. For me, reading makes me happy. For someone else, going out in the nature makes them happy. Well, I think for almost everyone, going out in the nature makes us happy. But for someone, they say that, okay, I just want to maybe take a small stroll somewhere. And someone says that I would just want to sit in the nature. So for every person, happiness is different. Also know that happiness is different from long-term happiness is different from momentary pleasure. They're both very separate things. Maybe a glass of alcohol gives you a momentary high, but that's not long-term happiness because in the long term, if you are going to have one glass of alcohol every day, that's going to impact your health. It's going to impact your senses, your awareness, your everything. Long-term happiness is where you continuously keep working on yourself. You do the inner work, and that's where long-term happiness comes from. Facing your demons, allowing them to just sit and get healed, and then you reach a path of joy. Whereas pleasure is you are temporarily seeking those little thrills which make you feel good for the moment, but in the long run, you feel, oh, when you have that glass of alcohol or when you have that junk food, you feel good for that moment, but you wake up the next day burping, probably feeling hungover, and for the long term, that cannot make you feel joyful. So, understand the difference between long term joy and momentarily pleasure. Most of us sacrifice long term joy for momentary pleasure. The difference is knowing which is which and honoring yourself. Okay, I think lots of gyan I shared. Probably it's the vortex energies which where I had a lot of downloads and I started using them in my day-to-day life, and I wrote some books. I'm about to publish them. I'm sure you're going to wrote and finished writing books, and I'm sure you all are going to love it too. But let's get back to today's reading, which is Believe It's Possible. The number one problem that keeps people from winning, now he says in the United States, but it's actually, I think, all over the world, it's a universal problem, is the lack of belief in themselves. If you believe in yourself, write in the comments, I believe in myself. But if you are someone who feels that maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I won't make it, I still want you to write in the comments where are you in terms of your belief system. There are no right and wrong answers. Also, please note that this is a very this is a place to where we are sharing our things. So for the longest time, I did not believe in myself. On the face of it, I appeared confident, but deep inside, I felt I was just not good enough. And I'm still healing from that. There are times where I feel, am I good enough? Who am I to talk about this? That's where the imposter syndrome kicks in, and you feel that no matter what, you are not good enough. So it's a journey. So Napoleon Hill once said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. In fact, the mind is such a powerful instrument, it can deliver to you literally everything you want. But you have to believe that what you want is possible. Scientists used to believe that humans responded to information flowing into the brain from the outside world. But today they are learning instead that we respond to what the brain, on the basis of previous experiences, expects to happen next. A relatively new discovery, but most people till about a decade and a half ago would believe, I would say even 5 years ago would believe, until you actually understand that this is the truth, that your life is only because of the external response. You're just responding to what's happening externally. But the truth is your brain has already received some information in form of previous experiences. Now your brain uses that as the base. And you respond based on those experiences. And that's why sometimes I feel there is so much anger and hatred in the world, because unfortunately people have had not so good experiences, and that's the reason they are thinking that way. The reason why people do not believe in themselves, because they have been told over 100 times, over 1,000 times that, listen, you're not good enough. And they have processed it and put it in their brain. We also live in what we call as the collective energy. Now, in the collective energy, most people believe that if you believe in yourself, you're considered proud or rude. And in order to be humble, a lot of people say that, oh, I'm not good, yeah, I'm not. And they keep saying that again and again. Now, true humility or true being humble comes from the fact that how kind you are to yourself and to the others. And you do not mistreat people when you start getting success. But most people believe that claiming your self-worth is sign of being proud or haughty, as you say. And that makes most people people want to be seen as good and a nice person rather than being a confident person. Because if you see any famous person, any personality, whoever they could be authors, they could be speakers, they could be artists. When they reach a particular level of fame, and and they do that because they are confident about themselves, they believe in themselves, you will see that if there is a Facebook post, there will be hate comments written from people who are absolutely they do not even have an identity. And that is, like I said, unhappy people hate happy people. Unsuccessful people hate successful people. Also, people who are not confident, who have a lot of insecurities, they hate people who are confident. And most of the times, people are so afraid of being hated that they end up trying to fit in with the people who are underconfident, who are not confident, who are unhappy, who are unkind. That is because we have, as a human being, we as a person who exists, we want to fit in with the people. We are afraid of standing up. We are afraid of being alone. And it's a very natural things which comes to us as human species. But you understand that no matter what, there will be someone who will be hating you. When I make videos, like recently I got a hate comment from someone, and earlier I would, delete those comments and make sure that I do not have any of those unpleasant comments on me. But today I know that I'm going to ruffle a few feathers when I stand all out in my purpose. When and then I tell that person that, I hope whatever you're going through, you you have more ease with that, because most people who troll are really unhappy. They're going through something. Also, hate comments mean that you are making a difference. So you are going to ruffle a few feathers, but do not let anyone stop you from living your purpose. If you have found your purpose, you are among those rare people. Congratulations. It's amazing to know that you found your purpose. And once you find your purpose, do not stop. There are so many people who have found their purpose, but they are not taking action. And I tell them that please go back, take action. Now, the example that Jack Canfield has given is, there was a surgery happening in Texas. So, doctors, for example, studying the effect of arthroscopic knee surgery, assigned patients with sore, worn out knees to one of three surgical procedures: scraping out the knee joint, washing out the joint, or doing nothing. Basically, not going too much technical. What I'm saying here is just to do a study of mind. There were people who were suffering from knee issues. A group of people were taken and they were put into three categories. The first one was scrapping out the knee joint, where actual medical procedure was done. The second one was washing out the knee joint, and the third one was doing nothing. Now, the first two are systematic medical procedures done by doctors. In the third one, there was nothing done. So doctors in the nothing operations anesthetize the patients, which means they put them under anesthesia, and made three incision in knees as if to insert the surgical instruments, and they pretended to operate. Now here is where the true um, aha moment comes. 2 years after surgery, patients who underwent the pretend surgery reported the same amount of relief from pain and swelling as those who had received the actual treatments, because the brain expected the surgery to improve the knee, and it did. Why does the brain work this way? Neuropsychologists who study expectancy theory said that it is because we spend our whole lives becoming conditioned. Through a lifetime's worth of events, our brain actually learns what to expect next, whether it is eventually happens that way or not. And because our brain expects something will happen a certain way, we often achieve exactly what we anticipate. This is why it is so important to hold positive expectations in your mind. When you replace old negative expectations with more positive expectations, when you begin to believe that what you want is possible, your brain will actually take over the job of accomplishing that possibility for you. Better than that, your brain will actually expect to achieve that outcome. My God, how cool is that, isn't it? You just have to train your brain. Even the athletes, the Olympic gold medal winners, they train their brain to believe that it has already happened. And then when it actually happens, it is just because the brain has created a neuro pathway. They have trained their brain so much to expect a certain circumstance that there are so many athletes who say that I did visualization for weeks, for months, for years. And when I got the medal, I felt as if I had already gotten it so much before. That's because they have already trained their brain cells to create those neural pathways. neuroplasticity, where you train your brain to create new pathways. Let maybe in the old time you had a limiting belief that it's not possible for you, but now you train your brain for days, weeks, months, years, expecting a positive outcome. Your brain will create a new pathway, and then it will actually happen. Try for something little. One of my students, she's now a student and she's also a coaching client. But for months together, she used to watch my free videos, and she reached out to me and she said, Ashwini, I watch your videos, and so many videos I watched. And eventually, finally, I started practicing a lot of things. So she said that in one of my videos, I had said that ask for something very little. And she lived in a comparatively smaller town. And in that town, she would, so she says that whenever she used to travel to bigger towns, she would love to have the Starbucks and have that coffee. It was quite an experience, but there was no Starbucks in her town. And she said that I just thought, what if I have a Starbucks coffee? Will that be possible for me to manifest that? And she visualized actually holding. I know it might be a small thing for you, but for her it was really something she wanted. And she had particularly liked one particular Starbucks coffee when she had visited Delhi for visiting her family or her cousins. So she's for a week, about a week, what she would do is she would imagine that she's holding that cup of coffee, that glass of Starbucks, and having that coffee, and she would remember the flavors and all of that. And then she said, after a few days, I forgot about it totally because you had told me to visualize that. I did that visualization for 7 days and then I forgot. And about 4 5 days later, one of her cousins just called her up in the morning, and she was visiting her from Delhi. And she said that I'll be seeing you today. And she was very happy. In the afternoon, when she came, she got her a packed cup of coffee from the Starbucks. Like it was like a 3 4 hours drive from where this my client lived. And she drove in the morning from Delhi and she got especially for her. And she said that, how do you know I wanted this? She said, I knew that at some point of time when you were visiting Delhi, you really would like this and we would have this together. So I thought it's a remembrance of our time. And she was like, I had no clue this was going to happen, but this is exactly how when you visualize things work out. So now this is exactly about you gotta believe. You can be anything you want to be if you only believe with sufficient conviction and act in accordance with your faith for whatever the mind can conceive and believe the mind can achieve. Again, Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, please do. It's a beautiful book, and there are so much bulb on and aha moments in that. Okay, so believe in yourself and go for it. Tim Ferriss believed in himself. In fact, he believed so strongly in his ability that he won Sanshu kickboxing title just 6 weeks after being introduced to the sport. So um, it's again given that sooner or later, those who win are those who think they can. Now, here is the story of how Tim Ferriss wanted to do that. And Tim did not want to merely compete, he wanted to win. When the competition day at last arrived, Tim defeated three highly acclaimed opponents before making to the final. As he anticipated what he would have to do to win the final match, he closed his eyes and visualized defeating his opponent in the very first round. Later, Tim told me that most people fail not because they lack the skills or aptitude to reach their goal, but because they simply do not believe they can reach it. Tim believed and won. So, basically, what we are talking about here is he trained himself. He took those little efforts and whatever he had to do, he undertook training. But there are 100 people who take trainings, but among them there are maybe 5 people who also do the visualization along with training. They are the ones who emerge as victorious. The next one, it helps to have someone else believe in you first. When 20-year-old Ruben Gonzalez showed up at the US Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, New York, he had in his pocket a business card of Houston businessman who believed in his Olympic dream. Ruben was there to learn the sport of luge. Have you done luge? It's so cool. I love the luge. a sport that 9 out of 10 aspirants give up after the first season. Almost everyone breaks more than one bone before mastering the 90-mile-hour race against time in an enclosed mile-long downhill track of concrete and ice. But Ruben had a dream, a passion, a commitment not to quit, and the support of his friend Craig back in Houston. When Ruben got back into his room after the first day of training, he called up Craig. Craig, this is nuts. My side hurts. I think I broke my foot. That is it. I'm going back to soccer. Craig interrupted him. Ruben, get in front of mirror. What? Get in front of mirror. Ruben got up, stretched the phone cord, and stood in front of full length mirror. That time we did not have these phones. So, of course, they would use the phone cord. You remember way back in 90s, even until early 2000s, we had those cord phones. And now repeat after me. No matter how bad it is and how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Ruben felt like an idiot staring at himself in the mirror. So in most wimpy, wishy-washy way, he said, no matter how bad it is and how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Come on, say it right. You are Mr. Olympic man. That's all you'll ever talk about. Are you going to do it or not? Ruben started getting serious and said, no matter how bad it is, how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Again, no matter how bad it is and how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Again and again and again. By the fifth time, Ruben said he thought, hey, this feels kinds of good. I'm standing a little bit straighter. By the 10th time, he jumped in the air and shouted, I don't care what happens, I'm going to make it. I can. And he spoke about all that will be, but he said that he is going to win. It's amazing what happens to your self confidence when you get eyeball to eyeball with yourself and you forcefully tell yourself what you're going to do. Whatever your dream is, look at yourself in the mirror and declare that you're indeed going to achieve it, no matter what's the price. This is an exercise I give to each and every client of mine when they do one-on-one coaching with me, where I tell them to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, look into their eyes, and talk about their dreams as if they already happened. And I do that literally every day. And I have some post-it notes, sticky notes stuck on my bathroom mirror. Yes, it might sound silly, it might sound stupid, but I love doing that. And I say those affirmations, then I play affirmations loud on the speaker in my bedroom when I get up in the morning and I'm brushing my teeth or having a usual morning. And that's the time I do all of that. And it's so empowering and it always works. The key is that you have to look into your own eyes, into the mirror, and say as if the dreams have come true. It's very powerful. And this one practice can change everything. So Ruben Gonzalez made that declaration and it changed his life. He went on to complete three separate winter games. Calgary in 1988, Albertville in 1992, Salt Lake City in 2002. He's currently training for 2006 Torino Winter Olympics, where he'll be 43 years old competing against athletes half of his age. So the last paragraph what we read, it talks about having a trusted friend or an accountability partner. In my tribe, we have accountability partners whom we connect to on daily basis and talk about. We ask them to hold accountable for each other. For all those who have enrolled with me for one-on-one coaching, I become their accountability partner. My team also becomes their accountability partners. So there are days I tell them to do some homework, maybe do a journaling exercise, watch a video, or do an affirmation, or do an activity. And by evening, we are again and again following up with them and asking, oh, have you done it? Are you facing any issues? Do you just want to talk about it? And we do that. And me and my team, we actually hold that space for that client because starting is easy, but doing it is difficult. And that's the reason these my mentees they get that kind of results is because they do the work. So when you do not believe in yourself, you need someone to tell you that you are amazing and you can do it, and not someone who will tell it that yeah, it's difficult, yeah, don't do that, because those are the kind of people who will steal your dreams, who will just put you in the path of mediocrity. So it's very important whom you spend time with and what you do. So, well, I absolutely had a great time reading this chapter. And I will see you once again with the next chapter next week. I love this book. And I'm again going to show off for some of you might know what kind of show off I'm doing. But I have the signed copy by author Jack Canfield. He actually signed it and handed it over to me. So I'm so grateful for that and meeting this person and even being in his energy and hearing from him. It's a great experience. So here I'm sharing these beautiful tips. I hope you liked today's live. If you have any questions, please put those questions down in the live. Or you can, if you're watching this as a recorded too, you can put the questions down. I think the only problem with Instagram live is once I finish this live, it will be, this live will go off and Instagram will upload it as another video. So if you have commented on that and if I have missed your comment, please comment after the video gets uploaded on Instagram. Please write your comment below and I will make sure that I can answer in whatever way I can. And thank you so much for your great your great support, being a great audience and watching me live. Sending you lots of love and magic on this powerful day. Have a good day. Bye.